Inspiring change in corporate sustainability. The modern era demands urgent reevaluation of business models, particularly within industries historically indifferent to ecological balance and societal welfare. As climate disasters intensify and inequality deepens, the role of corporations in shaping a sustainable future becomes not optional, but imperative. Activist movements have increasingly targeted unsustainable practices, demanding radical transformation across supply chains, production methods, and corporate ethics. This article explores how sustained pressure from socially conscious consumers, policymakers, and grassroots organizations can catalyze meaningful change in corporate behavior. Through strategic alliances, innovative technologies, and measurable accountability frameworks, we examine pathways toward a world where profit aligns with planetary health and human dignity. The power of consumer demand. Consumer choices wield immense influence over market dynamics, often compelling corporations to adopt environmentally responsible practices. When individuals prioritize ethically sourced goods, fair labor conditions, and minimal environmental impact, they send powerful signals to businesses about what constitutes acceptable practice. Data reveals a growing shift in purchasing behaviors, with nearly two-thirds of global consumers willing to pay premium prices for sustainable brands. Companies that fail to adapt risk losing competitive advantage as younger generations seek alignment between personal values and commercial transactions. Eco-conscious shopping. Platforms like Good On You rate brands on environmental and ethical performance, empowering informed decision-making. Campaign effectiveness. Movements against fast fashion have forced retailers to implement garment take-back programs and reduce synthetic material use. Strategic boycotts remain potent tools, demonstrated by the success of divesting from fossil fuels, which has redirected billions away from destructive industries. These actions prove that collective consumer power can reshape entire sectors overnight. Social media amplifies these effects exponentially, turning viral moments into sustained pressure. Campaigns targeting single-use plastics or exploitative labor practices gain traction rapidly, forcing corporations to respond swiftly to avoid reputational damage. Policies shaping sustainable business practices. Governments play a crucial role in establishing regulatory frameworks that either enable or hinder corporate sustainability efforts. Legislation mandating emissions reductions, banning harmful chemicals, and enforcing fair trade principles creates the baseline upon which businesses must operate. From the European Union's stringent carbon pricing mechanisms to California's pioneering climate disclosure rules, progressive policies demonstrate how legal mandates can drive industry-wide transformations. Such regulations level the playing field by preventing greenwashing while incentivizing genuine innovation. The global impact of climate agreements. International accords like the Paris Agreement set binding targets that compel nations to enact domestic reforms affecting multinational corporations. Countries committing to net zero emissions by mid-century force businesses operating within their borders to realign operations accordingly. These commitments translate into tangible benefits. Germany's Energy Wende initiative spurred massive investments in renewables, reducing national emissions by 40% since 2008 while creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. Similar patterns emerge globally where ambitious climate goals trigger cascading effects across economies. Innovation driving environmental responsibility. Technological breakthroughs present unprecedented opportunities for corporations to minimize harm while maintaining profitability. Advances in clean energy storage, circular economy models, and AI-driven resource optimization redefine possibilities once deemed impractical. Battery efficiency improvements alone could revolutionize transportation systems, making electric vehicles economically viable even in developing markets. Smart grid implementations allow dynamic electricity distribution, reducing waste during peak usage periods. Companies investing heavily in research now see sustainability as a core competency rather than peripheral concern. Tesla's vertical integration strategy, encompassing battery production and charging infrastructure, exemplifies this mindset shift. However, technological solutions require supportive ecosystems including government subsidies, public-private partnerships, and workforce training programs to achieve full potential. Without such enabling environments, innovations may remain confined to niche applications. Stakeholder engagement as catalyst for change. Effective corporate reform requires engagement beyond traditional shareholders. Involving workers, local communities, environmental groups, and indigenous populations ensures decisions reflect broader societal interests rather than narrow financial gains. Shareholder activism has grown significantly, with proxy battles over board compositions and executive compensation becoming common tactics. Institutional investors increasingly demand ESG, environmental, social, governance, disclosures as standard practice before approving dividends. Employee empowerment, internal whistleblower protections, and grievance mechanisms help identify unethical practices early. Community partnerships, collaborations with local organizations enhance understanding of regional impacts and foster co-created solutions. Transparency remains critical. Companies publishing detailed sustainability reports face greater scrutiny and pressure to meet stated objectives. The Carbon Disclosure Project, CDP, provides standardized formats that facilitate benchmarking among peers. Engagement extends to supply chain partners as well. Audits of subcontractors ensure compliance with agreed standards, while capacity-building initiatives help suppliers upgrade processes to meet evolving expectations. Measuring progress towards sustainability goals. Rigorous measurement frameworks provide essential feedback loops for continuous improvement. Metrics ranging from carbon footprints to water conservation ratios offer quantifiable benchmarks against which progress can be assessed. Adoption of global standards like the Global Reporting Initiative (GRI) enables cross-industry comparisons, revealing best practices and areas needing attention. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) further contextualize corporate contributions within broader humanitarian aims. Critics rightly caution against greenwashing, superficial sustainability claims lacking substantive backing. Independent verification through third-party auditors adds credibility to self-reported achievements. Technology enhances monitoring capabilities. Blockchain tracking ensures traceability in complex supply networks, while satellite imagery detects deforestation linked to particular commodities. Real-time analytics transform raw data into actionable intelligence. Youth-led movements reshaping corporate accountability. New generations of activists bring fresh perspectives and unrelenting determination to sustainability efforts. Their digital native approach leverages social media, virtual protests, and decentralized organizing structures unlike previous eras. Movements like Fridays for Future demonstrate how coordinated student strikes can disrupt business-as-usual mindsets. By occupying spaces previously considered impervious to protest, young organizers challenge assumptions about who holds power in contemporary society. Digital platforms enable global solidarity, allowing activists worldwide to share strategies and support mutual causes. Online petitions gather millions of signatures instantaneously, applying pressure on corporations far removed geographically from protesters. Young leaders also excel at connecting climate issues with other forms of injustice, highlighting intersections between environmental degradation, racial discrimination, and economic disparity. This holistic framing strengthens coalitions across disparate struggles. Towards systemic transformation, fundamental change requires challenging the very foundations of current economic paradigms. Neoliberal doctrines prioritizing endless growth over ecological limits necessitate radical alternatives rooted in regenerative principles and equitable distribution. Proposals range from universal basic income systems freeing individuals from exploitative employment options to localized food economies reducing dependence on industrial agriculture. These ideas represent paradigm shifts rather than incremental adjustments. Cooperatives and worker-owned enterprises showcase alternative models proving successful scalability. While still minority players, their existence demonstrates viability of non-capitalist approaches to production and exchange. Transitioning to post-growth economies demands imaginative policymaking alongside cultural shifts. Education systems must cultivate appreciation for intergenerational responsibility and ecological literacy from childhood onward. Conclusion: the path toward genuinely sustainable corporations involves multifaceted strategies combining pressure from below with structural reforms from above. From marketplace choices to legislative mandates, every layer of society contributes uniquely to this transformative process. Activists possess tremendous agency in shaping outcomes through persistent engagement, creative mobilization, and principled resistance. By staying vigilant, adaptable, and interconnected, they continue building momentum for lasting change that benefits both people and planet.